Testing is my normal speaking voice, hopefully coming through nice and clear. All good, all good. Cool.
Does that need phantom power? Does it need phantom power? I don't know. It's some mics aren't powerful enough on their own.
Oh no, it should be fine.
One last night needed.
I've used this headset for like 3 or 4 years, so
Oh yeah. No, okay, so it's the same, it doesn't, it's not putting you up, so I'm just going to Should we go one more time?
yeah, sure. Testing, normal speaking voice. We will sit around here for most of the afternoon, nice and clear, nice and loud, hopefully all good.
Yep, you got that one.
Full time 23s versus Hill, Macarthur rounds 2. First row opens. Welcome to Sydney Football Ground for this Football New South Wales clash between Sydney University and Macarthur Rams. Today's lineup: Rams first, number 4, Charles Banshee, number 6, Eliza Mandolia, number 9, Tia Mufensky, number 10, Sakura Najima, number 11, Marcella Santos, number 12, Matilda Gaius-Lovitz, number 14, Rihanna Dion, number 15, Sophia Brokenshire, number 18, Isabella Polo, number 21, Gabrielle Sarkis, number 23, Andy Cummins. On the bench today for the Rams, number 1, Isabella Tolosico, number 16, Mary Thomas, number 19, Nancy Swatridge, number 22, Honey Gallo, number 28, Summer Smith, and number 31, Stella Casalucci. Rams are coached by Vic Guzman and managed by Joanne Brzezinski. And for Sydney University today, starting lineup as follows: number 1, Howard Gallagher, number 3, Alice Thompson, number 4, Talia Sandler, number 5, Captain Amelia Kirby, number 6, Julia Harris, number 8, Madison Van Dyke, number 9, Poppy Tay, number 18, Kiara Bergamora, number 24, Sandy Jewett, number 28, Isabella Wren, and let's number 39, Asher Sutton. On the bench today, number 10, Jenny Hill, 17, Amelia Brewster, 19, Noah Bajazi, 20, Ellen Hughes, 23, Letitia Zeck, 33, Claudia Pickett, and number 41, Vicky Fisher.
NPL women's football returns back to the university campus for just the second time this year. A rare home game for Sydney Uni, and they have the chance to continue what has been a very promising last couple of weeks, trying to make it 3 wins on the trot against the side that are trying to do the exact same thing. The Macarthur Rams have grown into the season as it has gone on, and Vic Guzman's side have only gotten better in recent weeks. 2 wins to their name. They travel to Sydney's inner west in search of their own winning streak. Promises to be a great one here on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. My name is Will Constantinides. An absolute pleasure to be here. Perfect conditions for a autumn's afternoon of football. And we'll take you through the team. You're starting first with Xavier Taylor's Sydney University. As mentioned, they are fresh off a 3-1 win away at Hills United. Last time out, Isabella Rard picking up a brace alongside Hijazi finishing off the 3rd goal. They make just the one change, with Alice Thompson coming into the starting 11 in place of Ellen Hughes. And as play has kicked off, we'll quickly run you through the Sydney Uni starting 11. In goal, number 1, Hannah Callahan. Number 3 is Alice Thompson. Number 4, Talia Sandbrook. Number 5, Amelia Kirby. Number 6, Juliet Harris. Number 8, Madison Van Dyke. Number 9, Poppy Tay. Number 18, Kiara Bonara. Number 24, Xanthi Urich. Number 28, Isabella Rudd. And number 39, Asher Sutton. As Majima tries to find some support. Nothing doing for the Rams as Uni send it back down the other end. Poppy Tay will be interested in this. Meanwhile, Brokenshire has to be careful with Tay right on her back. And as Brokenshire finds the sideline, we can run you through Vic Guzman's starting 11 for today. And no surprises. There are no changes to the side that beat Spirit FC 4-0 back in round 6. Marcella Santos picking up a hat-trick, while Sakura Najima added goal number 4. And their starting 11 looks like this. Number 4, Charlotte Hampshire. Number 6, Eliza Amendolia. Number 9, Tia Machensky. Number 10, Sakura Najima. Number 11, Marcella Santos. Number 12, Matilda Diaz-Wadowitz. Number 14, Liana Luong. Number 15, Sophia Brokenshire. Number 18 in goal, Isabella Coelho. Number 21, Gabrielle Sarkis. And number 23, Abby Puckett. As mentioned, this is A rare home game for Sydney Uni this season, just the second time they are on campus in 2026. This is round number 7, of course, so they've had to play a significant number of games away from home, but they'll try and make a real fist of it. A solid home stand, and they have a tough record to come up against. We'll get back to the Rams and how well they play usually against Uni in recent years. Meanwhile, Marcela Santos is on the charge. There is plenty of open space out on the right. That's where they go. Luong moving it wide again for DS Wadowitz. Amendolia just checking off the defensive line, came back from an offside position, and easy enough call for the officials. Our officials today in the centre is Sujan Parthak, assisted by Sarah Ratcliffe and Jeffrey Zhang. And Poppy Tay has managed to find a bit of space, a long ball that she's almost tracked down, couldn't quite keep it in. Poppy Tay in particular has been a real bright light of this Sydney Uni attack. They are statistically one of the best attacking sides in the competition, aided by a 6-2 win they had last time they played here. And so they have fond memories at home so far this season as Najima tries to find her way through some traffic. Poppy Tay, of course, with 4 goals this season, including 3 last time she played here. So they'll be looking to her throughout the season. Already a very productive 2026, playing a much more expanded role than she did in 2025. And while the Rams on a good break here, Gabrielle Sarkis looking to put in a good ball, but blocked out of play by Juliet Harris. And so the first corner of the game goes the way of the visitors. Looks like Tia Machinsky to potentially put this one in. And both sides have young, talented number 9s up top. Poppy Tay with a good record this season. Machinsky herself had a very productive 2025. That's a good ball in. It's swerving. Will test the Uni defence, but they can't beat the first defender. Amendolia will get a second go at it. Passes exchange. Now she looks up ahead to Marcela Santos back to goal. Amendolia again. Najima is making a run in behind, but it's headed away by Harris. Still the bouncing ball will keep Najima interested before they look over the top of Poppy Tay, and now she might look to get behind. Cleared away by Luong and Charlotte Hampshire. You can see both sides are really looking to make use of the open expanses on this Sydney Uni pitch. It's one of the bigger pitches in the NPL women's competition. There is space out wide if both teams can find it. Sarkis. Puckett finds safety in her defensive line, and so the Rams will restart yet again. DS Wadowitz and Luong. Machinsky. That's exactly what you want from your striker in build-up, as Amendolia has some room to work with. Looking for Machinsky on the edge of the area, well cut out by Uni, although they can't keep it with the Rams press holding strong. Machinsky. Hampshire. Machinsky at full stretch, couldn't quite keep it to feet. Brokenshire moving it on to Charlotte Hampshire, of course a former Sydney Uni player, made her first grade debut playing for Sydney Uni. Just her second season since switching across to Macarthur, played a bunch of games for Macarthur in all competitions, played 37 games, including 30 starts. That is a lot of football across the year, of course, including the Sapphire Cup. And a bit of under-23s football as well. Santos has picked it up in a good position. Rams have numbers forward here. Marcela Santos trying to get away from the first defender, but they double team her up quickly with Madison Van Dyke. Uni finding it hard to get out of their own half at the moment. Najima. Switching sides to Hampshire, and you can see how much space is there for the back line of Rams, but they've turned it over to Uni. Najima tracking back. Heavy touch takes it out of play. This is certainly a very much young Rams team, but they do have a lot of experienced players that they can rely on, certainly more than they had last year. The additions of Amendolia and Marcela Santos in particular have really added to this team. Of course, Sakura Najima was here last year, and they really do tend to rely on those players to get them through games. They are currently sitting 7th on the ladder, just the 5 points off the top 4. They have really gotten better as the season has gone on. Didn't start with a win until round 5, and then put together back-to-back wins in rounds 5 and round 6, and even during that time they've not conceded a goal. Meanwhile, they're on the break here. Something brewing here as DS Wadowitz puts a good ball in. Not cleared away by Uni. Machinsky had a strike, but it was blocked. It's a scramble in the box. Santos going down for it. Still, Uni haven't cleared their lines, and eventually they're able to get a breather with Santos fighting for the ball on the deck. And that was a very dangerous passage of play. A good ball in by DS Wadowitz to find initially Abby Puckett and then Machinsky on the knockdown. Meanwhile, Uni will try and go from one end of the pitch to the other very quickly, but Luong is able to snuff out that attack. Najima skips away from the first defender, trying to put a deft pass in behind to Machinsky, and it's found her, and Machinsky has gone for the chip and just wide of the goal. Wasn't far away, and the option was certainly there. With Hannah Callaghan having committed to it, Team Machinsky turning off balance. Would have been a fantastic goal to open the scoring, and was not far away from it. Whole crowd waited in, holding their breath to see if it would find the side netting, and Callaghan just watches it gratefully go wide. And now Uni have numbers here. If they can find Poppy Tay, Brokenshire will track this back. Charlotte Hampshire will be worked into the corner here, try and retrieve this out of play. Santos. Rams really starting to find their feet again. They found Machinsky in behind. Touch just gets away from her, still fighting for possession. Good stand-up defending by Juliet Harris. Had to be very clean with Machinsky all over her back. The Rams have certainly started very strongly here at Sydney University. Of course, the Rams, despite their recent burst in form, both of those wins were at home. They played 3 straight home games over the last 3 weeks, and have walked away from that stretch with a pretty solid 7 points. And now they head back away for the first time in about a month. Yet to win away from home, but they're looking very strong at the moment. Urich sending it up back towards the Rams defense, but this Rams backline and midfield are doing a good job recycling possession. Vic Guzman will be happy with that. Amendolia. Pass finds its intended target to Sarkis. T.S. Wadowitz sent out over the sideline. Luong. Attack breaks down, but they'll still have it here, the Rams. As mentioned, still looking for that first win away from home. The away record this season reads 1 draw, 2 losses, with just the 2 goals scored across those 3 games. So I'll be looking for a performance today that reflects the improvement they've made over the last couple of weeks. And so far, through 10 minutes, they've certainly looked the more dangerous of the two outfits here today. DS Wadowitz. Hampshire. Burst of speed out of the back line. There is some space there for her, but she has turned over possession, and that might leave her exposed, but the Rams just have so many numbers at the back, and Uni have had to sit deeper than usual.
Let's go, Uni!
And so that attack comes to nothing. It'll be Rams goal kick. Majima. Back with broken shear, assessing where her support is. Here's Luong. Amendolia. Quick touches away. Hampshire has to get to this in a hurry. And they have plenty of space to work with at the moment to the Rams. Amendolia. Now with DS Wadowitz. Tay is the intended target from that pass from Banara, but the combination's not connecting at the moment for Sydney Uni. They've had to defend for a significant portion of the game. Broken shear, her effort forward is blocked, but we still have it here, the Rams. This is a good move for Uni Brewing potentially as Rad moves it wide. Early delivery is taken well by Coelho. Still a very quiet Rams defense at the moment. Long back to Majima. Hampshire taking it forward, looking up ahead to Puckett. Amendolia. That's a good turn of speed for Uni as they can get forward. Numbers arriving. Still Uni have possession. Foul is waved away. That was a very nervy moment as Thompson with a nice little burst forward. Exactly what Uni were looking for. Meanwhile, they try and get this counter going. Sarkis. Still with Gabrielle Sarkis, cutting back inside one way then the other. Asking for a bit of help with Banara holding her in a good position and eventually is able to win the corner. And so the second corner of the game for the Rams, it will be to Machinsky to take. After the first 15 minutes have gone, it's still very much been a game played on the terms of the Macarthur Rams. As Vic Guzman is barking out instructions from the box, telling her players to move closer to the Uni keeper, Hannah Callahan. Perhaps a delivery in the 6-yard box is to come. Machinsky floats it, and it's exactly in that sort of area, but it's too close to the keeper, and it's out over the goal line into the side netting. keen to try and diffuse this little spell that the Rams have had Sydney Uni. They've had consistent amount of pressure, consistent amount of shots on goal. And that little spell from Alice Thompson where she got forward was exactly what Xavier Taylor would be looking for his team, trying to maybe catch the Rams on the break. They do have a speedy striker up top in Poppy Tay, and Isabella Rard knows how to find the back of the net and has done so in recent weeks. So they know that they have the attack that can put away chances even if they don't get too many. Meanwhile, here's Sarkis. This right side has been especially productive for the Rams. Sarkis. The ball in is right into the grateful arms of Hannah Callahan. And Sydney Uni have been, for better or for worse, one of the more entertaining teams to watch in the competition this season. They score a lot of goals. They unfortunately concede their fair share too. They are, in terms of goals scored, the third best attacking team in the competition with 16 goals through 6 games. That's a very handy clip to be scoring at. Not too many teams will be better than them in attack. However, it's been on the defensive end that things have been difficult to shut out goals. They have conceded 12 goals through 6 games. So averaging 2 goals conceded a game makes them the 12th best defensive side. And if you're working backwards, that is 3rd bottom in terms of goals conceded. So Xavier Taylor will be impressed with his attack, but will want to try and tighten up his defence. And so far, they've sustained a bit of pressure and they've done well to get past that, and now they have the ball to feet. Rod. Des Wadowitz winning it back on the sideline. Sakura Najima gets the call to turn, and they have their way out through the back line here, the Rams. Conversely, it's been the different sort of story for the Rams. They are a very tight defensive unit. Just the 5 goals conceded through 6 games, making them the 3rd best defensive side. So on offer today, you have the 3rd best attack against the 3rd best defense. Conversely, it's been putting goals in the back of the net that has been difficult for the Rams, which is perhaps a little surprising given their personnel. You have Tia Machensky, who notched up double-digit goals last season as a teenager. You have Sakura Najima, a very competent playmaker, one of the best in the competition since coming to the NPL New South Wales. Started with the Stingrays, now in her 3rd year with the Rams. And they've added Marcela Santos from UNSW. So there are players on offer. Of course, they also welcome back Matilda Diaz-Wadowitz, the junior Matilda, on the right wing. And she's been productive early too. So I'll be keen to get this attack clicking against the side that is trying to find some form defensively too. Meanwhile, Uni try and get forward here. Good touch inside by Ash Sutton, and despite some pressure, recycles the ball back to her defenders. Down the line for Isabella Rard. Luong is right on her back, and that's a nice touch inside by Rard to unleash Sutton as pass was short of Tay. Liana Luong having a pretty solid game so far. Right back on the ball at the moment, has had to win it a few times. Of course, this is her debut season in 1st grade. Promoted to the senior side after a good season last year. Just 17 years of age playing 1st grade. It's, as mentioned, there are some younger players in this team, but the likes of Amendolia returning to the club as well. That was a big signing in the off-season for them. And with a few new faces, it's taken some time to gel for Vic Guzman's team, but they've been doing well in recent weeks. I'll have to worry about this attack coming forward, though, as Thompson goes to ground. There's a suggestion of a foul, but immediately waved away. That's not the first time that Alice Thompson has gotten the better of the Rams' defense. I'll be looking for more of the same from her. This is just Thompson's second start of the season. Has had to do most of her work from the bench, but is so far repaying the faith that Xavier Taylor has shown in her. Is probably the most lively of the attackers for Sydney Uni so far this afternoon. Now they have their first corner of the game. What can they do with it here? There's numbers around the penalty spot. Ride is just in that 6-yard sort of area as it's whipped in, but didn't look promising off the boot, so the Rams walk away with that one pretty stress-free. Santos gets the call from Brokenshire that she's the one with the space. Luong over the top. Sarkis is in space here. Machinsky and Santos crashing into the box as well. It's a good ball in. Callahan had to be quick off her line and had to get two hands to it with Machinsky and Santos interested in any potential scraps. And again, Uni walk away from it. They go from one end to the other very quickly. Tay getting to the byline, looking for the cutback. This could be an opportunity for Uni, but it's sent away quickly again by Luong. Rad had the opportunity as a long shot comes in from Banara. Thompson has a strike herself from distance, but it's seen all the way by Coelho. These last few minutes have really shown some signs of life in attack for Sydney Uni. Started a little bit slow, but down that right side in particular is where they're having more success. And they know if they can get it to the likes of Poppy Tay or Isabella Rad, that they have been putting goals away this season. Rad herself has 4 goals to go with Poppy Tay's 4. Now the Rams on the attack. Sarkis see Santos free on the far side. Marcela Santos on her left. Blocked by Italia Sambrook. It is a very open game here this afternoon, as is to be expected. Two sides that play pretty open brands of football on an expansive pitch. They find space at the best of times, these two teams, but on the Sydney Uni grass, there is a lot of green space ahead. Machinsky again to deliver. There are numbers all around Callahan in goal. Machinsky looking for that near post delivery. Can't beat the first defender though. And Rad will chip this up, but only creating more pressure. Although Uni have a straight 2-on-2 here. Tay has Sutton with her. That's where she goes. Thompson is making a darting run towards the back post herself. Sutton going to work. Cross on the left. Straight at Isabella Coelho. And she sends it up immediately to Machinsky. These two teams are not wasting any time going from defense to attack. Only a couple of passes as Rad flicks one around the corner. This has Poppy Tay interested in it, but Brokenshire nods that down. Great control by Sutton. Had to do it backpedaling and bringing it down to feet. How will Uni try and convert what has been a pretty good spell into something more meaningful? 25 minutes gone, still no major chances as of yet for Uni, but couple of half ones as Kiara Bonara twists and turns. Urich over across to Sandbrook. Turned over. Machinsky has the defence backpedaling. Tia Machinsky can strike them from range, but it was tame and it was seen all the way by Hannah Callahan. Of course, as mentioned, Uni defensively have had their struggles a little bit. Yet to have a clean sheet this season, and that'll be front of mind for Hannah Callahan and the defence ahead of her, that they can get that first clean sheet, give themselves a bit of defensive confidence, especially against a side like the Rams, who, whilst have been struggling for goals, do have a lot of experience in attack and a lot of goals in attack as well in seasons gone by, as Najima gets the call to take it forward and move it left. Hampshire, as she's done a number of times already, overlapping on that left side. A good ball in. Machinsky might be interested, but Callahan looked pretty calm underneath it, despite Machinsky rushing towards her. Of course, this is one of a fair few games taking place at the moment across the NPL women's competition. Western City Rangers and Western Sydney Wanderers also on at the moment. Meanwhile, Manly United and NSW also playing. Amendolia has her head up, trying to shift away from a defender, creates a gap of space on that right. Couldn't wrap her boot around it fully though, and it was again Callahan who's had to pick out a couple of these crosses now. Correction, it's only one other NPL women's game at the moment. That's the Western City Rangers and the Northern Tigers. That's locked at 0-0, 34 minutes gone. Rad gets an important touch there to move it on to Sutton, and this is where Uni have been good when they move it side to side. Rad stepping over the ball. The defender wasn't buying it as Amendolia pokes the ball back to force Uni to retreat. Early ball in is good. Tay gets an important flick on. Back post. Over the bar. Amelia Kirby was trying to create something there. Her first real foray forward, but an important flick on by Poppy Tay just to shift it slightly over. Now, the Rams in attack again. They've done well to adjust to these moves, Uni. Defense has tightened up in the last 10 minutes. Sarkis couldn't link up with DS Vardowitz. Najima, good touch with the ball being drilled to her feet from the keeper. As DS Vardowitz tried to keep it in but couldn't. Now the game has just settled into a bit more of a natural rhythm. It's slowed down a little bit from both teams after a very fast start from the Rams in particular. As Rad and Amendolia are locked in possession for it. There is Amendolia and Sutton getting tangled up. Referee letting the teams play. Not a lot of stoppages yet, which is nice so far. Of course, Rams enjoy a very good record against Sydney Uni coming into today's game. They haven't lost to Uni in 8 games plus. They've won 6 straight games against Sydney Uni in the NPL New South Wales women's competition. The last time Uni beat the Rams was back in the 2020 COVID shortened season when we only played 11 games, and that was coincidentally the year that Uni were premiers and made the grand final. And when you look at some of the names in that team, that was a star-studded roster. That was back when Michelle Heyman came in for a guest stint for Sydney Uni. Ultimately lost out to Manly United in the final. The team had players like Grace Marr, Nikki Flannery. A really strong team of A-League women legends and a couple of Matildas in there as well. Meanwhile, Thompson is trying to get behind Brokenshire here, but she has the step on her. So Brokenshire can shift away onto her right, but is playing with fire out of the back, and now it's been pinched by Uni. Rad brings it down. Sutton in support of her. Stand up defending by Luong just halts the attack for the time being. Benara up ahead to Sutton. Luong. Important touches again from Liana Luong, I should say. DS Wadowitz is played into space. Can try and get past her defender, DS Wadowitz, and takes it past her immediately. A good ball into is heavy, but there was no one at the back post. Had someone been there, they would have had a free header waiting for them. Santos had committed inwards instead. More space opening up for Uni. Tay gets away from Brokenshire well. Poppy Tay has Rad centrally, tries immediately from range. An awkward bounce for Coelho, but another good opportunity created by Poppy Tay. She has been particularly impressive with her back to goal. Of course, is a really fast player that can get in behind, but another key part of her development has been in build-up, and you saw that there. Just back to goal seemed like there was no way that she would turn around Brokenshire, but a quick 180 spin and found herself behind the Rams' defense. Sarkis is met by two Uni defenders, and Benara was the one that won it off her. And Sarkis goes about trying to win it back. Sutton. Early ball in is close to Coelho. Might test her. It's off the crossbar. It will be tapped in by Poppy Tay. It'll be all the work of Ash Sutton, who put in a wicked ball that really tested Coelho. She couldn't backpedal quick enough, tapped it onto the crossbar, and Poppy Tay had the easiest finish she'll have all season as Uni take the lead here. They drew on their momentum since about the 25th minute. They've been getting better and better as the half has gone on, and now they have the goal to go with it. Goal number 5 on the campaign for Poppy Tay. Reminder, she didn't have a goal all of 2025, and now has put together 5 first-grade goals in 2026. Player that's really risen through the Sydney Uni ranks, through the 18s, through reserve grade / under 23s. Played a bit part role in last year's squad, but is now their full-time striker. And she's really giving them some serious production at the moment. As mentioned last time she played here, she had a hat-trick. And she's off to a good start here in the first half. And so how will the Rams respond? They basically had a monopoly on possession in the first 20 minutes, had a couple of big chances which were deflected away. Some last-ditch defending by Sydney Uni has this clean sheet still intact. Najima cleared at the edge of the box as Rad drops short to give it back to Sutton. And now Poppy Tay is up ahead as well, but Sutton is isolated on this left side, but she has the space and the pace to get past the defence. Sutton looking for another good ball in. This time It's too close to the Rams' defense as Amendolia is tripped up, and an easy call for referee Sujan Parthak. Just having a bit of an extended chat to Madison Van Dyke. Santos has gotten behind the defense, but there is Callahan coming up across quickly. Now it's Uni that all of a sudden have that extra spring going forward. Tay has got behind the defense again, looking for someone back post. Sutton will be there. First time strike, and now she gets her goal. That combination again, Tay and Sutton, proving to be fruitful for Uni. This time it's Tay with the assist, and Sutton had all the time to pick her spot with her left foot, and she picked it into the roof of the net. A great counter-attacking move by Sydney Uni, opening up the space on the right. And this Sydney Uni attack has been a real treat to watch this season. And through 38 minutes gone, they have 2 goals against one of the better defensive sides in the competition. A side that until today, the Macarthur Rams had 3 straight clean sheets. That's 4.5 hours without conceding a goal. And Sydney Uni have bided their time in this game, and they have taken their 2 big chances when they've come. Santos. Rams have been hit by a real big 1-2 punch here. They would have been feeling pretty good about the position they were in 25 minutes gone. The game being played almost exclusively in Sydney Uni's half, but Uni have ridden that wave and have ridden it to this 2-goal lead. And the chances they've created have been high quality. Ash Sutton's cross or shot forcing Coelho into some awkward keeping, which Tay calmly obliged to tap in the ball from short range. Now Sutton is really getting forward. This time looking to the penalty spot. Tay was there. Couldn't quite catch her foot on it. And that is the 2nd goal of the season for Asher Sutton. And just 18 years of age. This is her first grade season as well, so again, another one that has risen through the ranks at Sydney Uni. They've done that well consistently in recent years and throughout their history, is bringing juniors through to first grade. This is a player that's been with them since she was in the under-14s. Made her first grade debut earlier this season. And now really putting together some nice contributions. Rod couldn't get past Luong. And that'll please Sydney Uni greatly to see this attack continuing to come to light. You'd be forgiven for thinking that maybe it was just a bit of a hot streak that they found at the start, and maybe it wouldn't continue up against a good defensive side like the Rams, but they've put all suggestions of that away in this first half. It has been defensively where they haven't been as sure of themselves, but the performance they've put in so far through 40 minutes has been a much improved one on the defensive side of the ball. As Coelho watches that shot from Amelia Kirby sail wide. As mentioned, Sydney Uni haven't beaten the Rams since 2020. This would be their first win against them in 6 years if this result were to hold. It is a very good record that the Rams have against their opponents today, but so far it's not carrying them any favour. As Kirby was aware to that pass behind her and just taps it out over the sideline. Najima will try her luck from distance. Callahan got down to it quickly and easily. Coming into this game, Sydney Uni were just 4 points off the top 4. And so a win is really going to push them up towards the finals places, a place that not too many predicted them to be in. Sydney Uni were down towards the bottom of the ladder last year in a bit of a rebuilding transition year with a younger squad. They now find themselves potentially challenging for a finals place. Santos is waiting for some support to arrive. Eventually it does. Machinsky has dropped deep to receive. Puts in a good ball for Sarkis. Couldn't quite connect with it, but Diaz Wadowitz is going to have a second go at this. But she was offside. Either her or Sarkis on the touch. So Sydney Uni with some nice defensive structure, setting their line well. Tay, an important touch to keep that in, and now she's got possession. Poppy Tay asking Rad to get behind Brokenshire, but Brokenshire is there. Nodded ahead by Van Dyke, but they still can't keep it at the moment, Uni, and they've turned it over with Machinsky in space. Machinsky getting past the defender, a low-driven cross. Santos was half a metre away from tapping that in. They're not far away from getting a goal that cuts the deficit in half here, the Rams, but Sydney Uni so far have kept them out. Najima, reverse pass. Banara under pressure, but has still more Rams defenders coming and just has to lump it out over the sideline. Into the final minute of the first half here. It's been a very interesting game. Rams did start the brighter of the two in the first period of this first half, but couldn't make that dominance count. And as this Uni team have done this season, when you give them good chances, they will take them. That's exactly what Poppy Tay and Asher Sutton have done, adding a goal each with an assist each, and what has been a very fruitful combination for Xavier Taylor and this young Sydney Uni team. Certainly one of the younger teams in the competition, aside from, of course, the Wanderers Academy, but they are playing with some real venom in attack at the moment. Now they'll have to do a bit of defending. Early ball in will be cleared away by Kirby. Brought down by Van Dyke, but Santos is underneath it. Tried the first time attempt, but wasn't clean off the boot, so at the discretion of our referees as to how much time will be added on. Callahan will take a bit of time off the clock, try and get Uni into the break with this 2-goal lead intact. And they will. So at the halftime break here at the university, it's Sydney Uni in the ascendancy on their return back to the campus for the second time this season. Goals to Poppy Tay and Asher Sutton have them in a good position, but there is still another half of football to be played, as no doubt plenty of chat to come from both sets of benches. So we'll see you back soon on the other side of this quick break. I've been Will Cosandanitas. Don't go anywhere.
welcome back to Sydney Football Ground for this second half of the NPL clash between University and Macarthur Rams. University led at half-time, 2 goals to nil.
Welcome back to the second half of football here at Sydney University. We are on the other side of a very quick, very fast and very open first half of football where Sydney Uni were able to take their chances when they came. Poppy Tay and Asher Sutton with a goal and an assist each. Sydney Uni with a commanding 2-goal lead, but with the way the Rams were able to string together some passes in that first half and create some chances of their own, they'll know that there will be some opportunities on offer for them. It's all about taking them and putting them past Callahan in goal, who's had to make a couple of big saves, but there's been a lot of big defensive work ahead of her, some last-ditch desperation in blocking shots. That's been a key part of Sydney Uni's defence on the road to what they hope will be their first clean sheet of 2026. A clean sheet they haven't had in 10 games, which stretches back to the end of 2025. So this young developing team will be hoping for a bit of defensive solidity as they continue going again. Here is Sutton. Had a very productive first half, aside from the goal and the assist, and tries to flash one across the goal. A tight angle, maybe was hoping for a deflection on the way through, as Coelho just watches it roll past. And so both teams start out unchanged. No surprises there, really. Sydney Uni rolling with this 4-4-2, spearheaded by Poppy Tay and Rard. And then on either flanks, Sutton on the left and Alice Thompson on the right. Thompson herself had a pretty bright start in the first 15-20 minutes, which allowed Uni to break up a bit of the pressure that they were facing. Well, the Rams still very much in their 4-3-3 at the moment. Machensky will have it all to do from this sort of position. Cutting it short. It's broken up, but still at the feet of the Rams and Marcela Santos before it's coughed up in midfield. Tay has a good ball up ahead by Kirby to Rard, but skipping across the defence was Broken Shear. Is pressed well, though, by Uni and Rard. She has it to feet now. Long gets the call of time and realises she's in no real hurry and can pick out the easy pass forward. Of course, over at the halftime break, we some news across the other games. Of course, there is that one other NPL women's game taking place at the moment. That one between the Western City Rangers and the Northern Tigers. Currently locked at 0-0. Earlier today, RPA Leichhardt walked away with a 2-0 win against Sydney Olympic to continue their stay at the top of the ladder. Ravens and NSW also currently playing over at the other University campus, further east of here. University of New South Wales also up in that game. Here is Santos. Outside Matilda Diaz-Vidowitz is in possession. Here she is now. And Mendolia getting Sarkis to turn around the defence. A good chance brewing and a good save as well by Callahan. Had to get an important touch to it. Fingertips down to her left with Sarkis trying to test her at the near post. but the Uni keeper was quicker to it. A nice little turn of speed there by Gabrielle Sarkis, just playing off the striker today. Still looking for her first goal in 2026, the 24-year-old midfielder. Machensky. No way through the two Uni players in Sutton and Urich. Najima. Looking for that crossing angle, but Uni have their defence in a good position at the moment. But he gets between one of them and cutting it back. A good opportunity for DS Wadowitz, but it's blocked. Amendolia can't get past Thompson, and now Sydney Uni are on the charge again. But Brokenshire with a perfectly timed challenge and thought about playing one of our own players behind the Uni defence, but they're all tracking back from an offside position. And not for the first time today, we see a very fast sequence of both teams turning attack into defence in just a couple of passes, as Tay has won her side, a throw right in front of the Rams bench. Sutton plays the easy pass backwards to Urich and receives again. Now it's the Rams' turn to dig their heels in a little bit defensively. They, as mentioned, have been one of the best defensive sides in the competition, aided by the fact that they went 4.5 hours without conceding a goal, but Uni have put two past them already this afternoon. Just going back to the record between these two teams, last time they met in August of 2025, it was a 3-0 win for Macarthur Rams, Tia Machensky picking up 2 goals on that day. And then Uni just put the 1 goal past Rams in the last 2 years. So they've really turned around this sort of bogey record they have against their opponents here today, Sydney University. Sarkis trying to instruct her players to move around her, but it was telegraphed and read by Uni. Didn't last long though, and Rams have it again. Looks like some subs might be being prepared by Vic Guzman on the Rams bench. We'll see what happens on that front. No surprises that she is going to her bench early, chasing this 2-goal deficit. And the old cliche remains, the 2-0 lead is the most dangerous lead in football. Just 1 goal and Rams will feel like they'll have plenty of time, and I know they'll likely have their chances as Amendolia drops it short to Najima. Sarkis and Machensky combining and playing the passes. It falls out nicely here for DS Wadowitz though. Amendolia shifts away, trying to go left. That pass was shut down. Brokenshire straight off the head of Poppy Tay, and now Tay might think about getting behind here. Tay has the burst of speed. Now with the strike. A good save by Coelho, was backpedaling into her position and had to palm it away from danger, with Poppy Tay really freeing up the legs and freeing the space. Didn't know much about how she came in possession because it was inadvertently off her forehead after Brokenshire tried to head away a long ball. And Tay, who already has a goal this afternoon and an assist, was looking for what would have been her 3rd goal contribution in this game. And so Uni will have their first corner of the second half. Just had a couple corners in that first period. And so Asher Sutton is over here to take it. Just chatting with assistant referee Sarah Ratcliffe about the exact position of the ball. Meanwhile, Uni have numbers at the back post here. In swinging left-footed delivery to come. And it's a deep ball to exactly on that back post in a good position. They couldn't quite convert, but plenty of words of encouragement coming from Xavier Taylor and the Sydney Uni bench. That's the sort of move they wanted from that position, as Kiara Bonara couldn't quite head it goalwards, but I'll take that opportunity again if it comes. Tay shifting the gears in attack. Again, they just throw numbers at Poppy Tay, and they might almost turn it over here if they're not careful. Hampshire having to clear it wide with players all on her. Santos couldn't keep it in, so that will be a uni throw. Amelia Kirby with the ball in hand. Dropping it short to Tay. Will have a bit of work to do to get past the defence. And now she tries to wriggle through a couple defenders. Poppy Tay just ran out of real estate getting towards the goal line, but real intent about that. Backed herself between the defenders. And she's already created one cutback opportunity from that sort of position. That was how Asher Sutton scored uni second of the game. So maybe that's something they've identified that they can exploit using Tay's speed to create for others, not just herself. Now Rams have won it back high up the pitch. DS Wadowitz goes to ground. Throw in, not just yet, it's still in play here for the Rams. They've got it in an awkward position in the far corner. Now they have the throw in to come. Maybe a long throw, perhaps for the visitors. Will they try and launch this into the box? It's dropped in for Machensky, but well read by Uni. Najima. Luong. Held up on the far side. Will be a Rams throw. They want to go quickly here. Sarkis has had a couple of bright spots in this second half already. Now twists her defender away and has won her side their first corner of the half. Machensky to deliver. Now they're around the 6-yard box. A couple of different variations we've seen from the Rams. It's in a good position. Keeper came but didn't punch it away. And eventually it's seen away at the back post by Uni, but that could have ended in a goal, certainly. Had players interested in that back post sort of area. Brokenshire was closest to it. Mary Callahan got slight fingertips to divert it away from Brokenshire's path. Hampshire. Amendolia. Close to Callahan, and that's easily swept up. Thompson is shut down immediately, but does well to find her midfielders. Meanwhile, Santos has taken it off the toes of Madison Van Dyke and is looking up ahead to Sarkis. Important sliding challenge. Had to be made, and had to be made perfectly by Talia Sandbrook. Luong. Rams, you can tell, are really searching for a bright start in this second half. DS Wadowitz, the other side of the defence, shifting back onto her left, linking up with Najima. Touch was slightly heavy, and it's eventually shepherded down to Hannah Callahan. And so here comes the first change of the game. No surprise, it's coming from the Rams bench. Will be Abby Puckett off to be replaced by number 22, Hayley Callow. So some fresh legs on the wing. That's going to push DS Waterwitz centrally. Here she is on the ball now. Previously playing on the right. She's now in central midfield with Callow on the wing. First touches of the game for the substitute Callow. Goes back to her defence. Callow, of course, second season, another young player coming across to the Rams. Second season at the Rams was product of the Illawarra Stingrays system. Made her first grade debut for that club and played a handful of games across first grade, 18s, reserve grade as well. And now coming across to the Rams for what is her 7th appearance of the season. Has mostly started. This is her 3rd off the bench. Now Tay has more space but is slightly isolated. Gets inside and is dragged down by Brokenshire. That's an easy booking for the official, and Poppy Tay using her speed, using her agility to send her defender the wrong way, and forces the Rams central defender to be the first recipient of a yellow card this afternoon. That is Brokenshire's 2nd booking of the season. And there's a couple of players like Brokenshire, like Callow, that are in their 2nd season with the Rams after Vic Guzman came in last year. Of course, replacing Stephen Peters, and that sort of ushered in a wave of new, young, exciting players to the Rams with Guzman's connections as a coach. As Sutton, her free kick into the back of the wall, but it might fall nicely here for Van Dyke, and she's won her side a corner. Of course, Vic Guzman also been coaching at Sydney FC recently, has long been an age group New South Wales representative coach. And plenty of young players want to play for the Rams for that reason. They find themselves in a bit of a hole here. Half an hour to go, chasing this 2-goal lead. Sutton standing over this corner. Again, they go back post, almost an exact same position, and there were 3 university players there. And I think they all got mixed up as to who wanted it. In the end, it's out for a goal kick, but that's 2 corners now from Sutton that have been in that exact same position on the exact same side. And they found a free university head on both occasions. They just haven't been able to work it on target. Burst of speed from Callow. She has the fresh leg. Santos was waiting for it in anticipation. Check of the shoulder from DS Waterwitz, as does Amendolia. Sliding it wide to Callow. And you sense that if the Rams can keep University to just 2 goals and get one in the next 10-15 minutes, they'll really fancy the momentum behind them to try and get an equaliser or maybe more. It's a really deep ball in, and from Callow, and Callahan is the one that watches it go over for a goal kick. Headed on by Tay to the feet of Rad, and now Tay has gotten behind again, has Thompson in support too. Poppy Tay playing it up ahead to Alice Thompson. She's cutting it back for Sutton, and that's a beautiful team goal by Sydney University. Again, they find the open space on the wing, and again it converts into another goal, almost of the exact same making for Asher Sutton. This time it's Thompson turning provider. Could have gone herself, but had the wherewithal to slide it across to Sutton, and she has 2 on the evening. and has been involved in all 3 goals. Has goals number 2 and 3 on the season for her tonight. And Sydney Uni have pushed the lead out to 3. And this is really turning into some performance. Of course, last time they played here, they scored 6 goals against the Illawarra Stingrays, but conceded 2. And they are really liking playing at the university ground this year. Of course, a big shout out to Rose and Ken, who are Ash's grandparents, watching this one over in the early hours of the English morning. They'll no doubt be enjoying what their granddaughter is putting on at the moment, because she is lighting it up for Sydney Uni with 2 goals and an assist. Urich on the far side trying to wrestle with possession, and eventually it goes out of play. So it hasn't gone out of play, it's stayed in, and they've been caught out here, Sydney Uni. The Rams have some numbers getting forward. Sarkis and Machinsky, those are the only 2. Now Santos joins the attack. Here is Diaz Wadowitz. And that's calm work in midfield, just to slow things down and wait for the support to arrive. Santos. So Uni trying to keep this perfect home record intact. They had a decent home record last season, 6 wins, 7 losses, no draws. Compare that to away from home, where they had just the 3 wins, so they are a lot better when they play here. It is a difficult place to come and play. Meanwhile, Machinsky is trying to get in behind, but Callahan sorts it out with her defenders. And teams do find it hard to play here. Of course, the pitch can be a factor. It does become a bit bouncy later in the season. Of course, you can see it's already a little dry today. It's a bigger pitch as well. Of course, gets a lot of use from rugby. And when it's wet and gets chopped up by rugby players moving up and down, the centre of the park especially can be a difficult place to play through. That's why you'll see Sydney Uni more often than not try and go to the wings as early as they can. And that's where all 3 goals have come from. They've all come from crosses out wide, as Tay gets around the first defender, waiting for Rad to make her move. Still with Poppy Tay. Rad can strike them, looking for the far post, but looked wide off the boot. Coincidentally, the last time that Sydney Uni did beat the Rams 6 years ago in that COVID 2020 season was a 3-1 win. So something about the number 3 with Uni and the Rams. Van Dijk winning possession and winning a foul to go with it. And so Vic Guzman is going to go to the bench very shortly. Sensing that it is make or break time for her side in this game. 3 goals down with just over 20 minutes to go. It can be done, but if it is to be done, it has to start soon. Hayley Thomas receiving final instructions on the bench. Santos is being forced backwards, finds Najima. Santos is given something to chase, but Kirby sees it all the way and sees Thompson further down the sideline. Van Dijk knew there was a player coming and shifted away from her. Put her defence under a little bit of pressure as Sandbrook has to go all the way back to Callahan. And so here's that substitution been processed. So it is the former uni player, Charlotte Hampshire, that's been replaced by Hayley Thomas. Looks like they might be going to some sort of back three here. The Rams. Luong, Brokenshire, and Thomas, the three. Really throwing all numbers forward. This might open up more opportunities for Rams with more players forward, but it also might create a bit more for Uni. They'll have to be careful that this league doesn't really get out of hand, especially as they start to commit players forward. University have already shown how proficient they are on the counter. Tay, Thompson, and Sutton have been really feasting on that end of the pitch. Van Dijk is just possessed cleanly by Sarkis. Early ball in, is looping up and catching practice for Callahan. Najima. Now, Uni have really committed to locking things down defensively. They've slowed down the Rams a little bit. No doubt the Rams have had the wind taken out of them with that third goal. That would have been what they were trying to avoid in this second half. Difference between a 2-goal lead and a 3-goal lead certainly feels like a big one morally. Luong. Amendolia over on that far side, asking for a bit of support. Uni don't clear it out of the corner just yet, though. Amendolia getting between defenders. Machinsky on the penalty spot takes a big deflection away from her. Would have had a big chance waiting had it not been for a University toe. Now Najima links up with Machinsky before it's cleared away by Sandbrook. Santos. Defense held up, and looks like Xavier Taylor is going to prepare his first change of the game. And so now it will go through. It'll be Noor Hijazi is going to replace Poppy Tay, who gets a big round of applause for her involvement in today's game. A goal and an assist as Hijazi enters the game. She's also got a recent goal-scoring touch about her as well. 3 goals for Hijazi this season, including one last week to seal the win against Hills. Their third goal in a 3-1 win. Does have a bit of a knack for scoring off the bench. Hasn't started a game this season, but can really find goals if needed. Santos doing well to keep it in for Machinsky. Hijazi. Najima stepping in, as was Thompson. It's a battle for possession in midfield, but Sydney Uni come away with it. The second half, or really since the 25th minute, they've done a much better job at keeping the ball, have Sydney Uni. Banara. Kirby. Direct option to Hijazi. Almost found her chest. And there are, as mentioned, some interesting matchups now with the Rams going to this back three. At the moment, Sydney Uni looking very much in control and very much on their way for what would be their second home win of the season. And their 4th win overall. rather coincidentally, the fire truck has just arrived. You might see it coming across to your left of screen now. Fire truck has arrived at the university campus, perhaps to try and cool down what has so far been a very hot Sydney Uni attack. They are on fire up front today. Rudd gets an important touch, but the second defender was coming across to clean it up, and that's an important intervention by Hayley Thomas. Hijazi playing to feet, and now the ball is in, but Marcelo Santos can clear it. Hijazi was asking Thompson to make the run forward instead of checking back. Santos is just held up by the Uni defence, saw no way forward, and now Hijazi makes her move with the fresh legs to press. Amendolia looking for Najima, read well by Kiara Benara. She's had a very solid game. And Benara has left a loose arm on her way through with possession and actually kicks it away, and that's rather needless from Benara. Picks up an easy booking. You won't get away with those too often. Second player to go into the book. Coelho going clear. Real uphill battle for the Rams at the moment. Now they're getting forward here. The Rams. A good ball in, but no one on the end of it. It's been that sort of night for the Rams so far. A good effort by Hayley Callow, but they've been in those positions more often than not, the Rams. They've had plenty of entries into the final third. Just haven't been able to put one on goal and haven't been able to get one past Hannah Callahan. Finding the back of the net, as I mentioned, has been a bit of a problem for the Rams. They are bottom 4 in terms of attacking output this season. And now there's confusion as to which way it's going. It looks like more subs are on their way for Vic Guzman and the Macarthur Rams. It's going to be number 29, Phoebe Gordon. Just receiving a final talking to from Vic Guzman. So correction, that is number 28, Summer Smith. So it looks like the substitution has taken place on that far side. Smith enters for a nice little cameo off the bench. And there's 10 minutes or so to try and make an impression on Vic Guzman with her side trailing. Immediately is into the game with that ball over the top. This is Smith's 4th appearance in first grade this season, entirely from the bench.
Coming on the field, number 28, Summer Smith, coming from the field,
confirmation of that change. Matilda Diaz-Wadowitz departs. Thomas turning away to Sarkis. Nice look from Gabrielle Sarkis. Meanwhile, University have a change coming. Emily Brewster will be on the field very shortly. Sarkis. Rams looking for a bit of positivity this evening. It's been hard going in attack for them. Majima. Santos. There is Sakura Najima. Still with Najima at her feet. She could put something in. Took it off balance, and again the story continues for the Rams. So here comes that change. Now perhaps no surprise that it is Kiara Benara to depart from the midfield. She is on that booking. And with University 3 goals and 10 minutes away from a win, makes plenty of sense to play it safe.
Substitution for Sydney University coming from the field, Kiara Benara, and replacing her the 17, Emily Brewster.
So Emily Brewster will get 10 minutes here, because she has a goal off the bench this season too. So there are plenty of goals in depth for Xavier Taylor to look at off the bench. Won't quite need them here today, you'd think, but more good minutes in the legs of his youngsters. Santos. Centrally, Sarkis got the call of man on and had to move it quickly. Still was being hounded by these uni players. Brewster's goal off the bench earlier this season did come a couple of weeks ago in that 6-2 win. It's her 4th appearance as a substitute. Has started 3 games. Has played in every game that uni have had this season. Santos still with it at her feet. Rams looking for a shooting angle, but there's nothing really doing with how well set Sydney Uni are at the moment. Still a little while to go before Uni can claim this important set of 3 points. A set of 3 points that would see them get even closer to the top 4. Something that maybe wouldn't have been front of mind at the start of the season. Certainly not in many of the preseason predictions, but this young Sydney Uni side, coached by Xavier Taylor, have really shown they can finish with a flourish in attack, and if they can get this clean sheet here today, that'll be some confidence in defence too. Here is Hijazi. Looks up, sees she doesn't have much support, and uses the fresh legs to her advantage up against Luong. Hijazi looking up centrally for Brewster. Moving it wide for Thompson. She puts it onto her left. Straight onto the gloves of Isabella Coelho. Majima. Lovely switch of play if it gets there, but it's cut out by Sutton. Xavier Taylor looks to have another change waiting in the wings. Looks like it'll be Ellen Hughes, who was started last week. Another player with goals to her name. So on comes Ellen Hughes, replacing
He's being replaced by number
Alice
20,
Thompson.
Hughes.
Thompson departs with an assist and departs to a well-deserved applause from the Sydney Uni fans. Now they've got into a good position here, the Rams, and they've got one back. Exactly what they needed. And it comes from Sakura Najima. The pressure finally pays off. And will things get a little interesting down the stretch now in this game? 5 minutes plus stoppage time. Sakura Najima picking up a well-taken finish, just ghosting in behind the defense. Drilled that shot past the keeper. You'll have to be careful here that they don't give the Rams a sniff with a second goal. If that second goal does come soon, it will certainly be very interesting. Meanwhile, Santos and Hijazi are locked in a physical battle. Najima. It's actually goals in back-to-back weeks for Najima. Has 3 in her last 6. Now there's a bit of concern here about Marcelo Santos. Went to ground after going in for it. And so both teams will go to the benches just a little bit, try and get some water before we enter the final few minutes of this game. She's really clutching at that left shoulder, it seems, Marcelo Santos. So both teams just taking a bit of a breather at the moment. Meanwhile, the Tigers have taken a lead over at Popondetta Park. They lead 1-0 over the Western Sydney Rangers. University won't mind this too much. They're happy to just take the sting out of any potential momentum for the Rams. Santos, meanwhile, is in a real bit of trouble. He's holding that left shoulder and is going to need to be substituted. Actually isn't moving it, so this could be of real concern for Marcelo Santos and the Macarthur Rams. Santos, of course, a big signing in the off-season, coming across from NSW after helping that side earn promotions a couple seasons prior. And so the Rams actually haven't processed a substitution yet. They're going to have to play with 10 for the time being until they can get someone onto the pitch. They still have Madison Swatridge and Stella Tassarotti on the bench, other than the backup goalkeeper Isabella Solicito. University win it back, and now Hijazi is being sent into the corner here. We'll see if she holds it up. Instead, tries to charge past her defender and has won her side a quarter. And that's more time off the clock from a University perspective. Won't be in a hurry to take this one. see Sutton is just trying to box it into the corner, but it's been given away quickly. Machensky thought she was fouled, but nothing doing there. Machensky, now she's fouled. Now the whistle goes her way. And so now this is a situation that is new to the footballing rules, that usually the player that kicks it straight into the player rushing back might receive a bit of a talking to. It's not strictly time wasting to walk in front of the ball, but it is a little quirk of the game that's popped up recently. Meanwhile, Najima was in behind, and had she caught that, that could have ended in a second goal for the Rams. Now, the 90 minutes have gone at the discretion of the referees, and so now that yellow card comes to Tia Machensky, I think for a bit of dissent towards our referee. Callahan gets the hurry up. Again, Sydney Uni won't mind this at all. Unfortunately, their quest for a clean sheet will continue. Summer Smith, a good shift onto her left, blocked away at the last attempt. Brewster, out wide to Sutton. Another good turn of speed by Sutton. Now she's giving Hijazi something in behind. Brokenshire is on that card. As mentioned, unfortunately for Sydney Uni, the quest for a clean sheet will continue. It goes to 11 games since they kept their opponents scoreless. But with the way their attack is playing, if they could just outgun teams, they won't mind that. Now that's Callahan trying to keep it away from Smith. Brewster off her back. Amendolia sending Najima in behind. No chances taken by Sandbrook. Sarkis getting away well, finding Amendolia. Amendolia gets away from the immediate player ahead of her, but Sutton recovers well to stay in front. Summer Smith. Hayley Callow. Back it is with Liana Luong. Looping ball towards the edge of the area is cleared. Only as far as Tia Machensky and the Macarthur Rams. Sent away. Hijazi is interested. Brokenshire gets to it, but there's Hijazi right ahead of her. 2 minutes of time gone. Shouldn't be much long left. It's really only consolation stuff now for the Rams if they do get it. Smith has got into a good position, but couldn't bring it down, couldn't bring the bouncing ball to feet. And Hannah Callahan will take as much time off the clock as she can. And full time at the university campus. Sydney Uni continue their perfect home record this season, make that 3 wins on the trot for Xavier Taylor's young side, and make it their first win in 6 years against the Macarthur Rams. 2 goals to Asher Sutton and a goal to Poppy Tay made it 3. And then Sakura Najima with one to make it slightly interesting from a Rams perspective.